How you doing, YouTube? Yeah, a little bit of impromptu live streaming, because one, I can, and because two, I want to. We're fresh out of a FA Cup final, Arsenal versus Chelsea, and basically salvaged a pretty shit season from Arsenal. So yeah, we're lucky. We're lucky in that aspect. So I figured, I had the FA Cup final that was over here in the United States around 2:30. It is now 7:30. I had to run a couple errands. I had a couple important to-dos, and then I came home. And this is now when I actually got time to sit down and enjoy it and celebrate it a little bit and actually, just want to kind of savor in the afterglow of winning a little bit of silverware. Now, a lot of people will sit out there and, say, oh, FA Cup, who gives a fuck about the FA Cup? This motherfucker gives a fuck, because that means we actually get Europe football, more specifically European money, which is fucking infinitely needed for us to kind of do the things we need to do. Not only does it give us a couple $2-3 to throw at some immensely crucial signings, I think it gives us a boost to bring Pierre Emerick Aubameyang back, because that's probably, was our number one priority, was to at minimum keep the striker position where it needs to be, with that kind of talent. So if he were to leave, we'd have to fill it, and to fill it, we'd have to pay even more than what it would be to keep him, which sounds dumb. And I think with this going down the way it did, him scoring the 2 goals, the whole yada, yada, yada of it, it ends up making it a little bit easier for us to bring him back, both from him wanting to stay and also from the people with the money, the Cronkies and the board's members, to get the capital in order to keep him there. So, yeah, if we can only keep our, not to turn this into the massive beer review soccer/football show, but Arsenal as a club, we're not nearly where we should be. But even if we are where we should be, we're not going to compete with the cities and the Uniteds and of the world. In Liverpool, they spend so much more money than we do. It's not even funny. And but we can be better. We have wage bills of Mesut Ozil on there that is literally, we could have 3 really good players at that fucking weekly pay scale. And not to mention, the money we see, like, he doesn't even play. He wasn't even in the stadium, to watch. Let's put it that way. We have some players we need to get rid of. Matteo Guendouzi, I'm a big fan of, but he's got out the fucking door. Mainly, if we could keep our team the way it is, where we have Pepe, Lacazette, Saka, and Aubameyang, if they're all on the wings and in the front, then it's really weird, because we'll be set up front. We need nothing at all up front, which is exactly opposite of what we needed in the past with Arsenal. It's, between Henry and today, it was essentially we had defense and midfield and no strikers, or players that could put the ball in the back of the net at least. And now that's what we have. Our central midfield, both from, at number 10 position or like a defensive area, is not horrible, but we need better. Like, Xhaka is cool. I actually thought he played quite well this year, but his ceiling's a certain height, and he reached that height this year. He's not going to get any better, but he can certainly be worse. And he's always easy with a red card if he wants to do that. You know what I mean? That's something that you can always count on for him every now and then. We have, Martinelli coming back from injury. That's going to be a big one. We have some players, even like Maitland-Niles and a couple players that are coming up, but aren't just, we need an anchor. We need a superstar in the midfield. that was supposed to be Ozil. It's not going to be that. We need that player there. We need a creative. I mean, Ceballos is good. But I don't know how much he's going to bring. He hasn't played that much, and he's only alone right now. We not sure if we're going to keep him around. Guendouzi was going to be that guy, but he ended up being like a fucking head case, so we can't fucking do that. We got to find somebody in there that's going to be super cohesive. We'll see what's what. I know they're talking about bringing in, was a Coutinho in. We'll see how that goes. Now, defense is the biggest thing in the world for Arsenal. We have some players. I mean, Tierney is fucking magic. That boy is fucking a champion. So he's awesome. I'm still big on Bellerin. But outside of that, the two biggest ifs are one is Mari. He got injured. He comes back. What is he going to bring? Because he only really played one game for us. And the other one is Saliba, who he's a kid at this point, and while he looks absolutely fucking fantastic, you don't know until you throw those kids into the fire. So it's going to be an interesting kind of crazy time, if you will, to see what actually what transpires and see how stuff goes. Yeah, it's going to be good, man. I'm pumped. It's so weird. The season ended up being so weird this year. With every sports league was weird this year, but more specifically the sports that were going on, both mainly basketball and soccer as a whole. Hockey doesn't count. It was weird, you know what I mean? Because like you had these kind of big interruptions, and you weren't quite sure what you're gonna get back. When sport came back in general. It was weird to see what would happen. And oddly enough, the first real sport, and I say real sport, there's sports that people think are sports, like cornhole or hockey. But the first real sport to come back was soccer, European soccer, and then I think it was Bundesliga was first, and then it was maybe Serie A, and then like the rest of them followed immediately after that, and I think they laid a really good ground or roadmap for what other sports leagues should do when it comes to dealing with COVID-19 and being able to play and be able to do things moving forward in sport. Because you look at the Premier League. The Premier League's been going, and Premier League, FA Cup, you know what I mean, over to Champions League, all that stuff is now back, and moving, and people are playing, and they really kind of steer clear of any kind of harsh kind of COVID results. They've figured out a formula to keep their players safe, to put them in some kind of environment to where they're not, being exposed to the coronavirus. And you haven't heard much. I can't even think of one off the top of my head where a player's been like, oh, this person tested positive, they're out of the team, and now we got to figure out what we're going to do from here. Baseball's been going on for less than a week, and it's almost over. Like, baseball's just like, yeah, sorry, we've been going for 5 days, and I think we have to shut the league down again. Like, that's like crazy. Like that's insane. You think about it. In baseball, you're talking about what? You know what I mean? You automatically have a line of delineation between your pitchers and your position players. They're really not hanging out and working out together. They're doing two totally different things. Sure, you have a little bit of overlap with the catcher and whatnot. And then the sport itself is much less. It's much more social distanced than pretty much every other fucking sport. Like the pitcher's there to be, if someone's on first, second, or third, or the batter and the pitcher and the catcher, those are the only people that are really kind of close to each other. I mean, they're sitting in the dugout, obviously, but there's like nobody. You're not sitting next to everybody, and these guys are just dropping like flies. You know what I mean? You had the Marlins kick it off, and then now a bunch of no players from the Phillies, I believe, but you had a bunch of staffers from the Phillies come down with COVID, and I believe it was the Cardinals had a bunch of players come down with coronavirus now. So to look at that, to have that happen all within essentially 1 week, and then you've seen the Premier League Serie A, Bundesliga, all those leagues come back. Was it been almost a month and a half? 2 months, maybe even. And nothing. Like, what are we doing over here? Like, this is it's like we can't even get out of our own way when it comes to this kind of stuff nowadays. So yeah, it's kind of weird. But back to today's game, and the whole reason I'm on here. Did a couple beer reviews. Kind of happy. It was a really weird game, man. I don't know if any of you guys out there watched it, but man, as an Arsenal fan, that like pretty much was the total opposite of every Arsenal game that I have watched since probably a couple years after the Invincibles. So like we're talking like 05, 06 maybe. So around 05, 06, post Invincibles, but still like we had some we still had a very decent team. And then after that, we got it's pretty much right around the time when the Emirates is built and we left fucking Highbury. It just, the team changed, man. We changed into like fraidy cats, like scared. We're like running scared half the time. And it was weird. So to watch this game and to see what you usually expect to see, which is 5 minutes in, Chelsea scores an absolutely fucking fantastic goal by far and away already the best player to ever come out of the United States, period. Like he already is, and he's like fucking 20. And a great goal by Pulisic. And I smelled that goal coming from about a year and a half ago when he signed for Chelsea, and I'm like, this motherfucker's going to come and bite fucking my team in the ass one of these days in a really big game, and I want to love him, but he's going to be on the fucking pitch, and he's going to fucking score in Arsenal, and I'm going to get really fucking angry. Sure as shit. 5 minutes in, awesome. He led the build up to the goal. He made the great pass that ended up coming back to him and put it away with like the coolness and calmness of like a fucking 30-year-old veteran. I'm like, okay, here we go. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose 4-2. They'll go up 3-0. We'll scrape 1 or 2 back, and then they'll score, and then it'll be out the reach. Because that's how it rolls with Arsenal. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm not nervous, because I get nervous in a lot of sports matches when my teams are involved. I like sports. I played sports in the college. I get nervous, and I'm like, that's when I'm not nervous. I'm like, okay, I know this script. I've read this story. I've watched it multiple times. There's no reason for me to be nervous because I know exactly what's going to happen. Well, lo and behold, we come back and tie it up on a penalty that was, not only was it deserved, I have no idea how the defender did not get sent off with a straight red card, which is important when we move forward in this conversation. Like it should have been, Chelsea should have been down to 10 men then. Not even close. It was a clear scoring chance that he just basically dragged Aubameyang to the ground. It's classic red card. I know they changed the rules this year, I believe, because it used to be the triple threat, triple violation penalty thing was the old rule, and they changed it. But if you go look at the actual rules for English Premier League and see what they deem now as a straight red for a clear goal scoring chance, it still applies because he basically drug him to the ground. He basically almost clotheslined him and drug him to the ground. That still applies as a straight red. So that was kind of douchey that happened. And I was like, okay, at least we got the penalty, and Aubameyang's gonna hit that shit every fucking time. But even then, you're like, okay, this is. I'm nervous, but we're still gonna lose. And then we score again. Holy shit! I was like, okay, we're up. Now I got really fucking. Now I was getting nervous. I was like, okay, we're up by 1. Now this is gonna get really fucking bad. I think I had up to 7 viewers. Now I have nothing. So this soccer talk is not working for anybody. So cheers, everybody. Anyway. So, we score again. I'm like, okay. And then shortly after we score, not too far after we score, one of Chelsea's defenders fouls one of our guys, ends up getting a second yellow. Red card out. So they're down to 10 men now. And then I got really nervous. I'm like, this is what it's like being an Arsenal fan nowadays, because none of these calls typically go against you. So you figure when they are going your way, that something even worse is going to happen. Like, they're setting you up for disaster. Like, you know what sucks when your favorite sports team loses? You know what sucks worse is when your favorite sport team is up and in a very advantageous position and probably will win and then loses. That hurts way more. The sending off is harsh. And then Steve Semin actually chimes in. Sending off is harsh. It was, but that penalty on Aubameyang, that defender should have been straight red. So, and that was my point earlier when I was talking about that. That should have been a straight red. He should have been sent off. So to me, it's evens, because they got away with him not being sent off for the penalty kick in the first half. So what? And the second one was harsh. It's not worthy of a yellow. It was a foul, but it wasn't worthy of a yellow. But they should have been down to 10 men already. So that's where that argument kind of loses a little bit of. I mean, the argument that it was harsh, that makes sense. I agree with that, but I don't think that changed the game, because Arsenal got hosed on the Aubameyang penalty when it should have been a penalty and a straight red card. So they should have been down to 10 men before half. And then that was that. I mean, through the rest of the match, I was kind of like, kind of sitting there, my butthole tight. But here's the thing about it, and this is the retrospect, and I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again, because I typically watch interesting games or important games or cup games. I'll watch them twice. I'll watch them once, and then maybe go a couple days or a week later, I'll go watch them again, just so I can watch it from a more kind of not rooting standpoint. And I'm thinking about it is that, take what it is, the penalties, the fouls, the whole nine of the game. If you sit back and you watch that, Arsenal pretty much dominated 3/4 of the game. They sucked for the first 15 minutes. They were scared. They were just nervous. They didn't know what to do, to be perfectly honest with you. But once we hit that first drinks break, and it seems like Arteta is like a fucking magician at drinks break. I know you're not supposed to be coaching on drinks break, but once they hit that drinks break, man, it changed. We tightened up our defense. We shifted a little bit and started doing some different things. And after that, it was pretty much all us. And it's hard for me to see that from a distance, or see that while I'm watching the game, until I step back from a distance and actually view it after the game is over and be like, yeah, you know what? Really, in the grand scheme of things, if everybody always just says, it's a fair result. That was a fair result. That was, you know what I mean? As much as you could say, okay, the sending off is harsh, or conversely, you could be like, they should have had somebody sent off earlier, or, this call went this way, this call went that way. In the grand scheme of things, in the flow of the game and how it played out. I think, I wear rose-colored, burgundy-colored glasses. But I think most people would say it was pretty one-sided after the first 15 minutes. So there you go. So that was fun. It's been a while, and it's been a shit season. You know what I mean? I was actually all in on Unai, just because I had to be. So I bought in lock, stock, and I didn't know how bad it was until he left, because I chose not to see it, because I'm like, you got to give somebody time. And, I've always loved Arteta. He's always been fucking, you knew he was going to be a fucking top-notch skipper from fucking, even when he was a player. And just to see the transformation mentally of the players, not just even, it's not even like the players buying in, because they obviously are, because you see, I see players, like selling out completely on balls now, like throwing their fucking head and face and every part of their bits and pieces into the mix now that they weren't doing with Unai. But it's also like bringing people back that really give a shit. Like for Xhaka he gave the fucking home crowd a fucking middle finger. Fuck you. I'm out. Took his jersey off. He's like, I'm fucking done. You know what I mean? But in late last year, I believe it was. And you're like, okay, where the fuck is he going? You know, we got to get rid of him. And then he ends up being one of the more solid players for the rest of the season, especially when we came back from break. You know, giving the youngsters, not just giving youngsters a chance, because that's always been Arsenal's kind of MO, but giving youngsters a chance and actually picking the right ones. You know, Saka's been a revelation. You know, he's played infinitely better under Arteta and also after the break. Getting rid of fucking, you know, Ozil, which I've always been a big Ozil fan. I just think he just doesn't have the mental makeup to be as good as he is. And what I mean by that is that he's mentally soft. He's a magical player. He's really good at what he does, but he just can't handle the fame, or more importantly, the eyeballs and the criticism that comes with being that great. You know, unless you're, you know, he's Tracy McGrady. You know, he is Clyde Drexler. He is Isaiah Thomas. You know, if you're going to kind of associate them to American basketball players, he's not Michael Jordan. He's not Kobe. He's not Shaquille O'Neal. But he's that close. He's just that far off. And he doesn't have that like next level consistency of excellence to be absolved of any sins. So when he fucks up or he does something dumb or whatever he does, he pouts and he cries because he can't handle it. And then ultimately he's the manufacturer of his own demise. So while he has those moments of magic and beautifulness. What was that? Watford game? What was it 2 years ago? It might have been an FA Cup game. It was a night game in shitty weather. I mean, he's a magical that fucking game, and he just doesn't have that kind of makeup. And you can't have those kind of players as like your number 10. You know, you can't. You just can't. You know, he's a much more, let's put it this way, to associate him with somebody else, and Cesc Fabregas. So he's a much more talented player than Cesc, but he didn't have that mental makeup of that fire and that want to that Cesc had. And that's the difference, is that you have to have that player that wants to. And that's where kind of you have a player like Xhaka that comes in and ends up being not a better player, but a better player for the team, because he will sell out. And that's why he gave the finger, and that's why he flipped out, because he felt, I would assume, this is all me assuming, but he felt like he's like, I'd give him my fucking heart for this shit. And you people are fucking screaming at me, go fuck yourself. Like, he was pissed. I understand that. Ozil's like, I'm awesome. I don't give a shit about anything else. I'm awesome. Pay me. Like, I'm awesome. And if you don't think I'm awesome, I'm going to be pissed off about it. Like, it's nothing about the team. Same thing with Guendouzi. Like, I fucking was all in Guendouzi, especially in the beginning of the year. I was like, this guy's the fucking best. I love him because he's an asshole. Well, I know this firsthand. You can only be an asshole so much until even the assholes think you're an asshole. And and that's what he is, man. The shit that makes you love people like that, if it's constant, you just can't deal with it any longer. And that's kind of how it worked. And that's cool and all, but to have the steel to be like, okay, Ozil, you just go on vacation, just go away. You know, sure, you'll get paid. Just fuck it. Just fuck off. We don't want you around here. And then to the point where you're like, if you want to come and train, that's fine. Because, you know, you look at fucking Arsenal's just released their new jerseys. Like, Ozil's in like all the pictures. So he's showing up to take the pictures. You know, but other than that, it's like, yeah, man, you don't have to come to the game today. Don't worry about it. Go hang out. Go do whatever you want to do. Guendouzi was more like, yeah, you're not even allowed to train anymore. You need to go like fucking somewhere else. Train off. You're not allowed in the facility. And it's not so much being a dick. It's just so much being like understanding what motivates the other people. Because those, you know, the one apple spoil the bunch. That's what kind of happens with those kind of players. And to see what he did as far as get those players out of the team, you know, bringing the people that really want to work, you know, even taking someone like Maitland-Niles, who was essentially not essentially, he's out. He's like, I'm gonna go because this is not the place for me. But to see not only Arteta still have faith in him as a player, but also see Maitland Niles have faith to be like, I feel like I need to leave, but I'm still here and I will do anything you ask of me. And then Arteta have enough faith in that player to be like, I appreciate that. You will be rewarded with that, to put him in really important positions, really important games down the stretch, to the point where he might stay now because they've both shown each other enough love and enough care to be like, okay, this means something. Maybe we should really think about staying together. It's that kind of shit. You didn't see that with Emery. You know what I mean? And the weird thing about it is, I think you saw a little bit too much of it with Wenger towards the end, to where he was such the good guy, and he ended up just didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do what Arteta did to Guendouzi, what he did to Ozil. He did not want to do those things. He was like trying to keep the peace all the time. It's like you can't please everybody all the time. And that's kind of why Wenger had to go, because he just got to the point where that's what he was trying to do. Instead of making the hard decision of like, okay, you got to get out. You know what I mean? You're just not worth, it's not working anymore. It's just a breath of fresh air, and to see, the players and how they celebrated the FA Cup, you know what I mean, is fucking awesome. It's awesome. I mean, I've seen it before. It's not the Premier League title. I understand that. It's not Champions League. I understand that. But it's silverware. It's a trophy. And not only to see them hoist it, but to see them in the locker room afterwards, the dancing and a genuine, there was one video I saw of it tracked Arteta from the pitch. Like all the players are in the dressing room already, and he tracked him as he walked, off the pitch into the tunnel through the Emirates into the locker room, and then they just started dousing him with champagne, which is, that's kind of traditional. And there's always going to be a couple players that really kind of grasp onto that celebration and have fun with it. But everybody was into it. And even they're dousing him, and Aubameyang's laughing his ass off, trying to take pictures. People that aren't happy in our situations don't do that. They might celebrate though, but they'll be like, oh, it's the coach, whatever. No, they're genuinely happy that happened. And it was just great to see. I mean, like I said, a shit year. I mean, listen, if you asked me at the beginning of the year, well, let me rephrase that. If you asked realistic me at the beginning of the season where Arsenal would finish, I would say probably right outside the top 6. That would have been my answer. If you asked normal me, I would have been like, oh, they'll probably be top 4. But in the deep down inside, I know that wasn't going to be a thing. But I would have been like, yeah, probably finishing outside of the top 6 with the glimmer of hope of finishing 7th, and then Man City actually getting the penalty that they should have had kept on them. That way we could still qualify for Europa League football. And when that didn't happen, and then we had to hit Liverpool, we had to hit fucking Chelsea to win an FA Cup, I'm like, well, this is what life's going to be like without fucking European money, and to have the team kind of come through. It's just fucking ecstatic. I know, again, this is a beer channel. This isn't about fucking Saka. But, oh, good God. It was fucking awesome. Awesome. I don't even know what else to say. Yeah. Let's talk about beer. I'm drinking beer. I just reviewed this. This is a hazy milkshake by Hot Butcher. Look at all that shit going on in that sucker. That be some turbid stuff right there. That's in there. You see that little soupy goodness. It looks oxidized. It's not, though. It's just, I think, from all the adjuncts that were in it and stuff like that. What else? Let's talk about beer stuff. Get off the Saka for a hot minute. I got a bunch of beer mails this week, which is really fucking cool. And from all over the place. I got 2 from Texas alone, which was pretty fucking cool. Yeah, that was cool. Two beer mails from Texas. So I got a bunch of Texas jams up in here. I posted that Redbeard saying video quality not great. Well, that is what it is, Redbeard. Unfortunately, my internet might suck right now, so 'tis what it is. Anyway, let's see if I can fix that, though. I don't think I can. No, it is what it is. No, Redbeard's actually saying YouTube might be having streaming issues. I do know that they're throttling a lot of YouTube this month. I've heard, so we'll see what's what. Anyway, 2 beer mails from Texas, which is cool because I don't get a lot of beer mail from Texas. So I'll be covering a lot of Texas beers. I actually reviewed a couple. This is actually the other one. This is Ohio. It's not Texas beer. Got this from Jared from Ohio. He sent off some Ohio beer, so I got some Ohio beer mail that came in. A couple Texas beer mails. Had some Hop Butcher beer mail come in. Keith dropped some beers off for me. Here's a cool one though. Who knows if it's going to come through? But I have 2 beer mails that I'm supposed to be coming in. One is Mass Landing, out of Maine. I love their beers. I dig their beers, and I reviewed a bunch of their stuff over the past 1.5 years, 2 years, especially since they've hit distro. And then one of their sales reps actually reached out to me like last week. He says, "Dude, I just reviewed their little choppy." He's like, "Dude." He's like, I watch all your reviews. I think they're fucking hilarious and I love them. And he's like, I just saw you posted a little choppy and I just wanted to reach out and say, hey, when I send you off a care package, don't have to review them if you don't want to. Just fucking enjoy them, drink them, blah, 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 blah. I'll send them off. That was like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So they're supposed to be sending me one off. But the cool one is a brewery I never heard of before. I'm supposed to be getting a beer mail from Israel. From a brewery in Israel. Which has kind of got me all kind of excited because when I think of beer, not gonna lie, I don't think of Israel. To be perfectly honest with you, what was the name? The name of the place is called Bira Israeli, I believe. Israel's most famous and most exported beers. Maccabi and Gold Star on the Bira name in the United States. So I don't know, like it could be shit beer. You know what I mean? It's probably, it could be the Budweiser of Israel. But to get a beer mail from a brewery in Israel is kind of kooky. I'm kind of excited to try those. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what's what. Yeah. So I'm pumped. And a couple other beer mails are actually kind of like in the works on the way and stuff like that. So I've got a bunch of fun stuff coming in. I got a ton of mystery beers now, which has been fun. I've been doing a bunch of Black is Beautiful beers. I have two Black and Beautiful beers in the can that I have to post. One from Weathered Souls, which is a Black-owned brewery in New Jersey. And then I have one from Magnify Brewing, another one from New Jersey. I think I'm going to be doing the one from Sigmeister here in New Jersey. There's a couple other breweries I'll be hitting off. But last night I posted, which was probably the funnest one of the Black is Beautiful beers that I've done so far. I posted the Weathered Souls. The actual the brewery that started the whole Black is Beautiful kind of movement. I did 3 of their beers. What was it? It was let's see, look it up right now. It was their base Black is Beautiful recipe, and then a coffee and hazelnut version, and then it was a collab they did with a brewery called Isla Brewing, which was like a confection, like a pastry version. It was like a sugar cookies and vanilla and all that kind of stuff. Those all came from my boy Tony from Texas. He sent those off, and it was a cool little fun little group to do because to actually have the beers from that particular brewery was just it was fun. You know what I mean? To get it from the source. So that was cool. When I posted that last night, like I recorded it yesterday and I posted it like 3 hours later. So I edited it, I recorded it, edited it, uploaded it, and posted it within 3 hours, which is like about as fast as I could do. Cause it was like a 16-minute video and I like recorded in like 4K HDR and shit like that. So the files are gigantic. So that was fun. Like I said, I posted the 8,000 subscriber video. That's awesome. My subscribers have slowed quite a bit since I've started doing a lot of promotion for Black is Beautiful. It's kind of sad, really. Um, you could go to my if I go to my analytics in YouTube, and by analytics, I mean, for people who don't know, I can actually, like, once you could track pretty much everything in YouTube of who's watching your videos, from age to demographic, yada yada yada. So you could be like, okay, this many people in the United Kingdom, and then this many male, this many female, so forth and so forth. And one of the more basic analytics they give you is subscribership, how many people you get per day. So let's say I gain 10 subscribers in a day and I lose 2, it'll say 8. You know what I mean? You don't know how many yet gain total, but you just know the cumulative amount. Maybe that you can find more, drill down more. I don't know. I haven't really cared. But I was curious the other day because I could see my subscribership was kind of fluctuating more aggressively. And I looked, and, rarely do I lose subscribers. And as a whole, like, typically if I have a bad subscriber day, it sounds so fucking silly to even talk about it. It's still in positive numbers. But if you actually go and look at the videos that I've posted that have anything to do with systematic racism or Black is Beautiful beers, like I did that kind of uncomfortable conversation I did with Kyle. I posted some Black is Beautiful beers. I posted a couple things, even from like the what's the community tab where you can post this pictures and shit like that. I could literally go to look at my subscriberships and look at this day, and I'll be like, you lost 8 subscribers, which means I probably gained 10 that day. So that means I lost 18 subscribers. You know what I mean? Because if I gain 10, on most days, on average, I gain between 6 to 12 subscribers a day. So let's say 8 for the sake of conversation. If it says I lost 8 subscribers, that means that I actually lost 16 subscribers, if that makes any sense. So it adds up. Anyway, and if I go to what I posted that day, it's a Black is Beautiful beer, or it's a talk about oppression and systematic racism. So it's interesting as a social experiment to see that. I don't want those fucking people watching my videos anyway, so good riddance. Go fuck yourself. And it's just interesting to see like that amount of just systematic just douchebaggery. Even like comments, you know what I mean? Like comments I have, like, someone posted a comment, a long time poster who's been posting on my channel for a long time, posted last night, like, after I posted that beer, he's like, oh, what a pandering beer name, blah blah blah, like making fun of it. It's just like, really, dude? Like, what? Like, yeah, I'm a white dude, I got a beard, and I have tattoos. What do you think? I'm just like fucking white supremacist or some shit? I don't get it. And it's just funny because those are the people that like talk tough on the internet, and they're just like, yeah, fuck that shit. And be like, okay, random generated username that you can't stand behind your words. Like, that's such cowardice. You know what I mean? Like, you guys know where I live. My name's Matthew Dapkins. It's plastered all over everything. I live in New Jersey. I work in Pennsylvania. If you watch my videos, I'm not handing out my address to people. Actually, I am. When people ask me for beer mails, I literally hand out my address, but I'm not handing it out online. But if you kind of watch my videos, you kind of know where I live. You could track me down. It's not fucking hard. I'm standing behind the shit that I say. If I talk about things, I believe them, and I'm willing to be called out on them. And when people kind of comment and they kind of talk junk and like allude to being a racist or anything like that, and then their username is fartface jiggly boobs number 5, and it's like, okay, you have nothing to lose here. You can be the keyboard warrior. You can be that guy because you literally bring no voice because you have no integrity. Put your name on it. Be like, this is me. Here's my LinkedIn profile. Here's my Facebook page. This is my real name. This is what I believe. Do it. If you feel that powerful about your beliefs, own them. Don't hide behind cowardice. Yeah. And it's just like funny. That's fun. The other funny thing that happened this week too, is that, some of you may know, some of you might not, but like a couple months ago, there was a little tit-tat back and forth between another beer tuber and their liberal use of the word mystery beers. I started using mystery beers I started Mystery Bears 4 years ago now. I don't remember, like a long time ago. And well, at their core, they're blind beer reviews. They're a bit different. Blind beer reviews is a whole big shtick to them, and a lot of people do them. Like I did them for a year or so, and then I realized it was something that I wanted other people to actually. How do I put it? So a couple people actually, like one or two people asked me. They're like, "Hey, do you mind if I do the whole same thing you do with Mystery Bears?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude! Please do it." I was like, why are you not doing it? And it dawned on me that people were like, oh, they didn't want to do it because they felt like they were kind of like stepping on my toes or some shit like that. So I purposely went out of my way to put together a couple of beer mails, and I sent them out to beer tubers. Sent one out to Kyle from the Whole Beer Reviews. I sent one out to Joe from Joe's Arcade, and actually sent one out to, why am I forgetting? I'm pointing that way because that's where it is. Fucking yeah. Oh, Hobzine, Rob from Hobzine. So I sent one overseas, and just was there one more? I might have sent one more. Anyway, so I was just like, and I put in those boxes. I put like a note, like I saying, like, hey, the only thing I ask of you, like, here's a box of mystery beers. Enjoy them, have fun with it. I can't wait to watch them. I only ask that you do one thing. It's not promote mystery beers. It's not say my name. It was like put a box together, send it to somebody else so they can do them. Like just kind of get like a viral kind of chain lettery thing going out with mystery beers. And it actually worked out pretty well. And a lot of people started doing them. And then people started doing them who didn't get the boxes, which was totally cool. I'm not like fucking whatever, you know? And then, but there was a beer tube guy or whatever, and he was just like, you know, kind of using the word for whatever reason, and I was just like, yeah, it's kind of fucking weird or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, the story, the reason why I'm bringing it up because I really shouldn't, because it's a bunch of dumbass bullshit, is because people don't actually understand the point of things. Is that somebody who started doing them was Peter from Master of Hoppets, and he's been doing them for about a year now. He's been doing them. And the first one he posted, I was like, this is fucking awesome, man. I'm glad to see he's doing these. They're super fun. I fucking like, I like people seeing this shit. And then he didn't post one for a while. And then he posted one this week. And I don't know who else commented it since then, but there was, when I went to watch it, there was one comment on the video. And the video was, you better watch out. Matt from Mass Beer Reviews might come over and chime in on you doing mystery beers. Which I thought, honestly, that was the whole point. The person who chimed in was one of the people that were on the side of the other person when I had that kind of, what do they call that? No, not what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, the person who made that comment was like not a person who watches my channel. The person watches that other person's channel, and we had our little brouhaha. And all I did was I actually copied and pasted Peter's first mystery beer and said, I posted that, and I just followed it up with saying I actually have chimed in on it before, and I love that he does them. I think they're really fun to watch, because the whole thing that kind of went down with that other guy was that like the argument of mystery beers are not. It's not a proprietary ownership thing for me, and that blind beers have been around for a while. And that wasn't the point, but people don't get points. They just kind of argue their own side of things. And that's what this person was kind of joking about. Like, oh, he owns this, you better watch out, which is total bullshit. That's not the point. But with that aside, because I'm not saying I own it, I'm just saying it is a thing that exists. Literally Peter's first video he ever did mystery beer goes, he made a joke about it. This is all before anything. This is a year ago going, well, guess what I'm doing today? I'm kind of ripping off somebody else's shtick. You know what I mean? To paraphrase. So it's funny because it's like when someone makes a joke about something that they argued against to the person who actually reinforced the thing that they were arguing against. It was absolutely beautiful poetry that came full circle. And I absolutely loved it. So that was pretty, it was just so great because it was like, oh, wait, you're going on the person's page to say, haha, this guy might come after you because he thinks he owns his shit, which is not the case. But the person whose video you posted on, the first one he ever posted, he admitted that he was taking something that he viewed was proprietary. It's just gold. is absolute gold. So I love the way the internet works sometimes. Man, 45 minutes already. Can't believe it. And I'm not going to be much longer just because I got to go play some video games, hang out with my dog, and kiss my wife. Yeah. The Massive Beers family. Got some news on that coming soon too. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Should be a very fun winter and the spring. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna cut it short. I talked about my arsenal. I talked about how I'm getting beer in the mail, which is fantastic. I'm trying to actually get these live things to be semi-regularly again because I do nothing and I've just been lazy and a lot of the UK guys do them on the regular. I know the Canadian guys do them on the regular, but I want one for us like US guys do it on the regular and stuff like that. I'm trying to do it. It's just hard sometimes when weekends are kind of like up in the air as far as what I can do. But I'm going to try to get these live things going a little bit more regular. So there you go. We talked a little bit of beer, a little bit of drama, a little bit of goodness, a whole lot of love. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my little talk. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little video, 45 minutes of me rambling incoherently about soccer and bullshit and beer and fun stuff. All the stuff you guys love. Hopefully you're enjoying a good beer right now. That would be awesome. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.